Alright, 6 feet going deep. It's Torius with
Juno.
Alright, Juno, why don't you tell us about what you do?
Well, I'm a writer. I'm also an event curator.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an artist as well, but I'll elaborate on that on other moments.
Yeah.
I do it all, honestly, besides techie stuff.
Oh, like the whole computer stuff.
Yeah,
like
I'm not really I'm a techie person personally, but I don't do videography or editing. That's what I mean by that.
Okay.
But other than that, I have my hands on almost anything in the business realm, especially with music.
So you grew up down here, right?
Born and raised in Miami.
How was it like? What part?
So I grew up between Westchester and Cutler Bay.
Uh-huh.
Shout out. You know, so
Wait,
it was
Westchester is like.
Westchester is by where Tropical Park is, like Santa's Enchanted Forest.
Also, you were moving around.
Yeah, I moved around. I moved around a lot as a kid. Between 5 and 13, I moved around all over Miami-Dade.
Mm-hmm.
But I was mainly I mainly grew up between Westchester and Cutler Bay.
Mm-hmm.
So it was pretty interesting. What's cool about moving around a lot is that I got to meet a lot of different people in different schools and stuff.
Yeah, because you were in both areas.
Yeah, and then nowadays it's crazy how it super benefits me because in one way or another, organically.
Yeah,
you know?
because now you have all those connections and everything.
Absolutely, and you know when you're a kid and you're just moving around and whatnot, you don't understand what's to come of the future.
Yeah.
You know, in that aspect. So it's pretty cool.
Because I would when I was little, I always just knew the people in my area, and I would just see not until Facebook came out, I would see all the other kids from my other schools.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that there was other areas. You know, it was kind of that kind of thing. You know.
Yeah. No, I absolutely see that. It's funny that you mentioned that because before my first big move, I was on the same tip. But I was much younger. I grew up in that transitional era that the internet wasn't full blown everything.
Yeah,
you know, it was the transition that the internet was becoming what it is now. Like
Yahoo and stuff that.
What? I was on AIM.
Yeah, MySpace.
That MySpace.
What?
I had the top 8. You know, that whole bit. So,
yeah.
So since I'm an artist myself, right? So. What type of artistry? I'm a vocalist, I'm an actor, and a writer.
Were you always doing that stuff as a little
always
kid?
As a kid. So I guess you would say the typical story of I was 3 or 4 years old, wearing my mom's heels, dressing up,
singing with the comb.
And God forbid that you didn't come to the living room when I was putting on a show. Or you interrupted me, because I would put on little performances.
Were you a diva?
I was a little diva. I was only child at first till I was about 7. So I just the
world was yours pretty much.
Everything, yeah. So I would make everyone. I've always been very very independent. My mom, even my mom says since I was a kid, I was 2 years old, and I was you're not dressing me, even something that minimal. I was just yeah. So by the time I was 3, 4, I'm putting on little performances for my family, and God forbid you interrupted, because I'd stop you, wait for you. Yeah, I was quite extra, I guess. But I've just always been very particular. I know what I want. So.
Were you always organized and stuff?
Very, very organized, very systematic. So. By the time I was 5, I got into acting classes, that my parents put me in.
Yeah.
I loved improv. Because I guess since I was an only child as well, I didn't have a lot of release, Did
you feel like you were a funny person?
I definitely I've always been goofy and silly and outgoing.
Yeah.
And when I was a kid, it was that times 10, I would say.
Because you had all the energy, right?
Because I had, I didn't have siblings, so I wanted to be everybody's friend or play with them, So I was a very happy kid.
Since I was in the middle, I felt I would just want to be by myself.
I hear middle kids are usually more super their individual self, they just want, like you said, to retrieve to their own thing.
Yeah, that's
that's
exactly how
you don't want to hear it from your older brother or sister, you don't want to, you just want to do your own thing.
Yeah.
It makes sense. And they're usually the most successful and rebellious.
Really? I feel like that's me. Yeah.
So I started off like acting and writing.
Mm-hmm.
By the time I was in 3rd grade, my shout out to Miss Muger, bless her soul.
She was like your English teacher?
She was my drama teacher in elementary school from 3rd grade to 5th grade.
Uh-huh.
And she had us do improv. She had us, just do dialogue, monologues, screenwrite.
Like stand up?
Pretty much.
Like that stuff, like writing stuff?
Improv is more like, not stand up comedy, but improv like within a group. Mm-hmm. They pretty much give you like a theme, and you have to keep going with it until the story like plays itself out, Mm-hmm. But it's like no script, nothing. It's just like.
Do you do like improv like now, like in the improv clubs and like different places like Coral Gables, like up north?
I don't do improv now. Mm-hmm. I still act here and there, but I don't do it as seriously as I used to when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. But I'm really grateful that I had that drama teacher because she put me onto writing. Mm-hmm. But not just writing.
Because you wouldn't have done that like by yourself.
I was always kind of a little writer,
mm-hmm.
even though I was like into singing and acting or whatever. But I started writing like plays mm-hmm. when I was in 3rd, 4th grade. So that opened me up to a whole different world.
What was like the first play that you wrote?
I wrote a play about. I had just watched the movie Dudley Do Right. I don't know if you remember.
That's one with like I know there's like a ride, right? And
yeah, there's like
Islands of Adventure.
I don't remember who came out with this movie or whatever, like if it was DreamWorks or Disney or whatever, but I know that I watched this movie and I was like super inspired. Mm-hmm. So it was from what I remember, it's about this like park ranger, and then he falls in love with some girl and he has to save her.
Yeah, and then I don't remember. I watched a movie like 20 years ago.
Yeah, see, I haven't watched it since I was a kid. So for some reason that like, I remember I wrote like a play. I guess you could say I paraphrased this, being like 8 years old, but it like inspired me to write my own play. Uh-huh. So after that, I wrote like, little plays here and there for like my actual class.
Were you actually writing like the singing and stuff in it as well?
They weren't musicals. They weren't musicals, but I mean, it inspired me to just write, freeform write, in the sense that like, when I write, even now, I don't think of it as like, I'm gonna write this. I'm writing a song.
Were you also like reading a lot of books too?
You know what's funny? I've actually like, I don't read a lot of books, or I was never really like super into reading books. Oh. Even to this day, I've read maybe 5 books in totality. I do read every day, but like articles or like, I mean, for example, one of the books I read is a dictionary because I was just, I don't know. I get these.
Did that help with like your vocals and stuff? Like
it definitely helps with my vocabulary in general and like articulation. I've always been very interested in understanding the root of things.
Oh yeah.
Because I feel like once you understand the root of things, then
you could like figure out like the rest of the word.
Absolutely. Like you figured out the formula, so what can't you figure out from there?
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like I would look up like conservative, like con means like to be against something, and it's like I don't know, like just stuff like that.
Yeah, like so. I mean, for real, poetry was the first thing I started writing. And then, because of the introduction of screenwriting through my drama teacher, I would write little plays. You actually
like writing the screenwriting?
Yeah.
Like,
well, I'm sorry.
Format and stuff?
I'm sorry. Playwright. Playwright at that point. Eventually, I got into screenwriting.
How different are the two?
I'm sorry. Playwriting and screenwriting?
Yeah.
Well, with plays, you have to like take into account that there are no cameras. You have to like.
So that you can't put like the close-ups and stuff like that.
Exactly. Like there is no close-up here, noise in the back, or maybe there is, but like it just associates itself to theater setting, and like there's no sound, there's no, so it's like live.
Yeah.
It's more pressure in a sense, like writing it and acting on theater.
Did you think about that when you were like writing your first one, the Deadly Diva one? No.
Not really. I was just so stoked, like so excited to write like my little story, you know, for people to act out, that I was just like, I was already a super happy kid, you know. So I was just like writing away, like just really happy to share this with everyone. So I got,
well,
I mean,
but what did like other kids like think about it? Like, did they all read it?
They, I don't remember, but I know that we all got to act out like all of our little plays. They like split us up into different groups, you know?
Yeah.
And like we would all get to act out our plays. So, you know, it would be like 4 groups, 4 kids per group.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To give everyone an equal chance. So that was nice too. I remember I played Jan from Greece, one of the characters from Greece, which was very interesting for me. Yeah, I don't know. It's a very, very old play, very old movie, but
yeah, I haven't seen. I'm trying to remember Greece. Like,
Greece
I just remember, like,
is
I know it's like about like, you know, like they have the hair and stuff. That's all I'm remembering.
Yeah, it's like John Travolta, like one of his first movies.
Yeah. And
Olivia Newton-John. I'm so sorry. I'm such a movie geek. Like
really?
I could probably break. I can't tell you the director of that movie or whatever, but
were you watching a lot of plays too, or like going to like any like?
I would go, even though I was really into theater and writing at that time, like playwriting. I was mostly into film. So wanting to understand the root of things, I knew that in becoming a good playwright and a good actor on stage, I would be an even better actor.
Yeah.
Because
you know, like the fundamentals and everything.
Exactly.
And the foundation.
Yeah. So that's. I loved theater and everything. Like I was even a thespian in high school. But for me, I would always have like film in mind. Yeah. You know, like that whole image of like, take 2, cut. You know, like that whole.
Like being the director, or like the.
Honestly, doing it all. It all. That's another thing that's, I guess, been good and bad for me, that whenever I've had like my passions, I want to do it all. You know, a little bit of everything. Maybe not at the same time, but
you just want to like learn everything
here and there.
Cause I'm the same way. Like there's like so much because there's so much things out there that it's like it's all interesting. But the way I see it is like, you know, you could like it would be good to learn all the stuff, but like realistically it's like you have to like pick something and just like focus on that until you get good at that.
Absolutely. Yeah, like master it, you know, like actually not too long ago I was talking to a friend, and he actually mentioned, shout out to DA, he's the one that said this. He said something like they say that you can't master many different things, you can only be a jack of all trades, but I consider myself a master of all. You know, which again, he said this, and that's how I feel as well. Like my passions that I focus on, I may focus on them one at a time for like 2-3 years, let's say. Yeah. But when I move on is because I've already mastered it, or like,
not that like you know what to do.
Yes. Because, again, like, I meant to go back. Like, it's not that I've mastered it, like, oh, I'm already the shit. No. I don't believe that at all. Because in the end, it's like, I don't know shit, you know? Yeah. Because I'm still a student.
And
like,
still learning everything.
Absolutely. Like, people like Denzel Washington, Jim Carrey, like, they still take acting classes. You know what I mean? So...
Especially since, like, all the industries, like, especially now, since everything's, like, evolving, that you have to, like, you know...
And it evolves like this.
How often do you spend like do you spend like an hour a day, or do you spend like just focusing on one thing, or do you spend like hours like doing like multiple things in a day?
Well, for the past year and a half, I've been focusing solely on the business aspect of things. So like getting my brand going, which is about to launch very soon.
But for business, like what, like is it music or like acting, or is it?
Sorry, I'll elaborate a little bit more. So I got my first ever passion is film, acting, and writing, right? All together. And after high school, I took a bit of a hiatus, And then
from acting,
from everything, like a year off. I just didn't know anyone who was into the same things I was. Mm-hmm. Everyone was kind of like either not doing anything or.
But weren't you like a lesbian? So like, weren't you in the club of like?
Yeah, but I was like, okay, so after high school, I was just partying a lot. So it was my phase of like, you're getting like, turned, like super, like I didn't, unfortunately, like I didn't apply myself during that time, so I just took like a year off, whatever. I ended up meeting somebody.
I feel like that happens a lot because that same thing happened to me. Like I didn't know what to do, so I was just like going out all the time, just like partying and stuff. I wasn't really...
like it's only like after you go through it and you get out of that phase, that you realize like, all right, well, I got that out of my system.
Yeah. At what age do you feel like that you got it out?
It wasn't until certain experiences, right? But I would say 22.
22.
When I was 22, I finally, I would say, snapped the fuck out of it, and I was like, life is passing me by.
Yeah, because I feel like when I was like 20, that's when I started like, like I'm not doing anything. Like whenever I go out to shows, it's not really like to like turn up. Mm-hmm. I'm out there like meeting people, like it's for business.
Absolutely.
It's for, like, it's like I'm there to do like to network and to build.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really like, because before I would have been like, oh, it's this rap show, let's go. Let's go.
Let's just go turn up. Let's get drunk, whatever. You know, like it wasn't substantial. It was more like.
Yeah. And I see like all my, because I work at like a gym, so it's like I work with like younger kids too, and they was like, yo, I'm gonna go out and get soul turned tonight, and I'm like, damn. I remember when I was like that, but I'm like, yo, like when you're like in like 2 years, you're like, oh fuck that, I'm gonna like be on my shit.
Absolutely. And see, I'm glad you got out of that phase. I'm glad I got out of it. For anyone who goes through that and gets out of it, kudos to you, because there are people who do not get out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
At all. It's quite sad. It's like,
because I still have to do it. There's a lot of them on here. I still have to do it.
Okay, so remember how I mentioned like Kendall?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just gonna say not everyone from Kendall is this way. Okay, but when I was younger, I used to chill in Kendall a lot. And I found myself hanging out with people who would literally do the same exact thing all the time. And they weren't even like good friends.
Like smoking weed,
like just doing unproductive things, And here I was with all these ideas and like I wanted to get shit done, but nobody else. I was the one out of like 10, 15 who wanted to do shit.
Yeah.
And like, let's say the ones that were doing shit wouldn't include me for whatever reason, even though I had great ideas. Well, pretty much I just wasn't around the right people, So once I snapped out of my shit and I saw what was what, I just...
Was it because you wanted to hang out, like at that time you wanted to hang out with like the kids that were like going to parties and doing stuff? Or is
I think it just has to do with the fact that we all want to belong. For one reason or another, we want to believe in the person that we've known for years, the person we grew up with. We want to believe that like, yo, we're going to be friends till we die or whatever, And sometimes it's not like that at all. I'm a very detached person, and I'm very grateful for that, because detachment doesn't mean be a cold asshole to people.
Yeah.
It just means like, yo, I see you, I got you.
No, but like to them, it's not like that, because to them it's like, oh, you want Hollywood,
Well, but see, that's not your issue,
Yeah.
How other people choose to feel about you and the decisions you make is out of your control, Little do they know, and I say they in that sense because they don't understand the power of choice, I guess. Not yet. Like, they don't have to
like be around the same
people. They don't have to do the same things. They don't have to feel indifferent, They just don't understand the power they have.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's why it's such a blessing for like people like us. We went through it and we're like, all right, well,
I'm done with it. Just like not really.
Let's keep it going, But and what's funny is like, I'm sure you're like this too. Like, I'm the type of person, I want everybody around me to succeed. I want everybody to get to their full potential. But if you don't see it in you, what am I? What?
Yeah, you can't do the work because there's a lot of people, they want you to do the work for them, pretty much.
I just feel like it's really easy to be negative. It's really easy to be a bully, you know? It's kind of tough to put your pride aside, especially when you're quite young and on, you know, drinking and everything almost every day. That really affects you. But again, you don't realize these things until you snap out of it. Yeah. You know?
Because then you're like, oh, I was drinking all this beer and now I'm like 30 pounds like heavy.
Exactly. Or, you know, like, I don't know. You know, like, I'm grateful for all of that because I learned so much and I have the mentality I have now.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm you know, like, I just love seeing people prosper in whatever way. Like, I'm a huge cheerleader for people. I want to go around and high five the fuck out of everyone. Like, bro, you're riding that skateboard, ride the shit out. You know, whatever somebody chooses to do, I want to be like, fucking do it, man.
Yeah.
But you just can't be that way with everyone, unfortunately.
Because they don't have the motivation themselves. Because sometimes like, people, like, you try to, like, you know, you try to build them up, and then they think you have ulterior motives.
Absolutely. Yeah. And what they don't, like, it's what some people don't realize is that when they have trust issues or when they are just negative to people for no reason or whatever, it's something to do with them internally and nothing to do with the person they're being negative towards.
But do you feel like they can change that?
They can absolutely change that. The power of choice, you know? Like, I don't know if you know this or if, you know, the public knows this, but our brains are literally 100% hardwired to think negatively. The only reason why we have the choice to think positively is our hippocampus. See, this is one of the few things I read about.
Yeah.
So because of the hippocampus, that's the switch that lets us choose, hey, I want to opt for this positive
option. It's like
option.
really easy to judge someone like, oh, you know, you're this, you're that, you know, like, oh, it's
absolutely. Like, you know how they say that idle hands are the devil's playground?
Yeah.
Imagine an idle mind.
Yeah.
You know, you're gonna be just thinking of your brain needs to fill itself up with something. You know, so it's not gonna be like, I'm gonna fill it's, you know, your brain's not gonna think, I'm gonna fill myself up with happiness and unicorns. No, it's gonna be like, well, I fucking hate my life, and what was I born? You know,
like,
like,
I feel like
self-pity.
Like all this, like, kids on Xans and stuff, they're not doing anything, so they're like, you know, their brain is like filling up with like, oh, you know, I hate myself, I hate my life and stuff.
Absolutely.
Because when you're doing something, like, you don't think about that stuff. You just like you have something
at
in front
all.
of you. You gotta like focus on it.
At all, like, I mean, I super dislike excuses, and I've been that kid on Xanax. Those years of partying that I told you, but it's kind of funny how like now. Like, you know, the younger generation super into Xanax, because when I was in high school, that shit was whack as fuck. You know, like, you did Xanax, nobody fucked with you. And I did that for a little bit, and I was like, you know,
Did you actually have like anxiety, or you just like?
No, I didn't have anxiety. I was just a little shithead. You know, I wanted to get fucked up. Like, yeah, I was depressed, but what person isn't depressed here or there in different parts of their life, you know? You know what I mean? Like, everybody has trials and tribulations. I just think it's a matter of, like, again, it's not easy to own up to what you're going through, you know, or to take responsibility. So I get it. It takes time, you know? I don't expect you to be 18, 19.
But when you were feeling that way, did, like, music actually help you?
What helped me at that time was writing.
Really?
Not even music. Like, I would listen to actually at that time I was listening to a lot of instrumentals. Because as a vocalist, whatever, I was like rapping here and there, not taking my rapping seriously, but, you know, just
like putting your words on the beat.
Exactly. Like, just releasing, you know. So yeah, I mean, I would freestyle here and there, but it wasn't, again, nothing that I took seriously. It was more for like externalization, you know, just to get it out. So yeah, I would say that music did help me overcome it. And then just like my personal experiences, like my best friend passed away. Just things that pretty much I took as a sign like, yo, the universe is really trying to tell me to chill the fuck out, you know. But again, it's because I chose to see it that way.
Yeah.
You know, there was a really like detrimental point in my life when I was like 21, 22. That it was pretty much like, it was a huge catalyst. It was like, hey, so be the bigger person and just chill for a bit, you know, or be a vindictive asshole and do all these things, you know,
and then have all this bad stuff happen.
Exactly. And I'm so grateful that I chose to be the bigger person.
Yeah.
And now again, it's led me to where I am now.
Was it hard for you to like make that decision?
It was extremely difficult, especially because I was doing, you know, I was partying so much. Like, I was partying so much, the people around me were not very positive, you know, like they were just helping me dig my grave deeper, type of thing, you know. They were handing me all sorts of shows, little ones, tall ones, like name it, you know.
Yeah.
But there was just something always in me that didn't let me like succumb to it fully, or like surrender to anyone's BS, you know. Like I used to be like very hot-headed and like I'd come at you like direct. Oh, I'm being so direct.
Yeah.
Until I learned like, hey, sometimes I'm just gonna distance myself and that's it, you know.
Yeah. Because that's what you have to do sometimes, pretty much.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of people, especially like down here, their first resort is to like, you know, either like, you know, just confront and like, you know, do violence, or just like, you know, whatever happens.
I just like, you know, I grew up, again, we all have trials and tribulations, and I don't mind speaking on these things because I've already accepted it for what it is, right? So I grew up in a super conflicting environment, like my home, you know, like, and I never, because of that, it taught me that I don't want to be that way, you know, like, why do I have to try and kick someone while they're already down, you know, like things like that. I'm just grateful that instead of like, because I was bullied at home, rather than being a bully to others, I was a hero, you know, like I would stick up. You didn't want
someone else to. Like,
absolutely, yeah, because I knew what it was like. Imagine when your own family is putting you down, you know, and then.
Was it because of the singing? And the
it was just like, just weird, you know, like weird family dynamics, pretty much. It had nothing to do with me. Like, yeah, they thought I was a loser and a fucking gang member and all these weird things, which I would not ever join a gang, or nor was I in a gang, but they just thought the worst of me, you know? So, which is crazy. Like, I was like a super good student, like, whatever. But they were just, you know, their internal conflict.
Yeah. What about like now? Are they like supportive of everything you're doing?
They are way supportive now. Right. They're very, but honestly,
I feel like they would be, you know, as long as you're not in the gang.
Yeah. Honestly, they are a lot more supportive now because they see that I have purpose. You know, ever since I started really like going for what I want with the music industry and everything, like they're very supportive. Like, so that's good. But honestly, by the time I started getting their support, I didn't need it in a sense, you know?
Yeah, because I was just, you already had it inside of you.
Absolutely. And don't get me wrong, support is essential. 1000%, like from your family, your friends, and everything. But like, let's say that you're in a circumstance that you don't have the support. Fuck it, be your own support system, and eventually you will have, you know, that strong support system.
Yeah. I
mean, that's you know, thankfully what happened with me. So yeah, I started off with film pretty much.
Were you actually learning the programs and stuff at that time?
No. I did, okay, so I did my partying phase. When I was like 19, 20, I met a local director. And I became his assistant.
What was he doing, like films or like music videos? Or?
He did music videos, short films, everything. So in particular, when I met him, he was working on his first short film. So from then on, I was his AD. I was the director's assistant. It was a really cool experience, you know, very different. had to get out of my comfort zone a lot.
You had to hold a lot of caps, lens caps, and
I was mostly like the do girl, you know, like go get food, you know, quiet on set, like anything, literally like any sort of like work like that is what I would handle. Help with the script if need be, you know, like revise it.
Yeah. Right.
But either way, he would, you know, it's his script, so
yeah,
you know. But it was just like I was like.
He had like everything like professional, like his own stuff. Or was it just like?
It was professional, but still very like at home base, you know, because he actually got picked up by Borscht Corporation, which is like,
I'm not familiar with them.
So they're like a corporation that helps fund like indie films and stuff for South Floridians. I'm not sure like what they're up to these days, because actually after I linked up with him for a few projects with this director that got picked up by Borscht, we kind of like stopped talking.
Like lost touch.
We lost touch, yeah. And that was really, really like, that hurt me a lot.
Wait, like he just like stopped talking, like replying and
stuff? Like I don't know exactly how, why. I don't remember or know the details, right? Because I was just
got like his own like AD there.
I honestly don't know. And still to this day I don't know. We haven't spoken like years, 4 years, 5 years. But honestly, it was like the best thing that ever happened to me.
Really?
Because even though I was super sad after that happened, you know, I felt like betrayed. I felt like, you know, you just have a lot of mixed feelings. And then after like 2 years, I said, fuck this. You know, like I stopped the self-pity shit. I tried to become a paralegal. You know, like I tried so hard to like conform, and then I realized,
is that
like,
what your parents wanted you to do, or they wanted you to
No, they just wanted me to do something that makes a lot of money. You know, like I guess any parent wants, because they want you to be stable.
Yeah.
And have security. But you know, as soon as I started following my actual passions in music, everything has been falling into place.
Like what were like the initial things that you were doing, like at first?
Well, as an artist in the music industry, I was just trying to break in and record as a vocalist as much as I can.
Were you doing all the recording yourself, or like going to studios?
Pretty much, like I would have different producers send me beats, and I would record, you know, over them, either at home or at my friend's home studio, stuff like that.
But what were you listening to that like inspired you? Like
at that time, well, the music that I like to make is mostly like R&B or indie or just like soulful music, right? Like pretty much whatever I'm feeling.
Yeah.
Honestly, like just like the approach I take to writing, that I don't limit myself. I don't limit myself when I record. Like if I want to sound more like Portishead, you know, like the lead singer for Portishead, when I sing, even though it's like a R&B-ish beat, that's what I do. Yeah. You know, like whatever I feel.
What do you usually do first? Like do you like sing it first and then write your words, or like do you write the words and then sing it?
I'll hear the beat out, and then I'll just start getting like, it's like the beat inspires the lyrics for me. You know, between the mood that I'm in, let's say, which is usually like melancholic.
Yeah.
I feel like that's when I write the best material, for myself at least.
Because you feel it more.
I feel it more, so I just get really into my feelings, and then I just like let it out. Sometimes I've just freestyled it, you know, like sung whatever I feel right then. Sometimes sometimes I write it. Like I feel like a little bit of both is good, you know, because you got to keep your mind sharp and your hand sharp.
Yeah.
So you got to balance it out.
Yeah, because I just like I spoke to a singer the other day, and she told me that you know, like she still freestyles. Like whenever she's at home, she just locks herself in her room. She just freestyles like for like a couple hours and stuff to keep her mind. Because like even though she does write, she still needs to like. Because she said write until like freestyle until you don't have to write anymore, pretty much.
Yeah, that makes sense. I just whatever. I just do what I feel, you know? And I feel like everyone should do as they feel, you know, within reasonable not limitations, but within reasonable, like,
the way I feel about that is, like, sometimes you have to do what you don't feel, because, like, sometimes like you feel like you know, like, you feel like, I don't know, playing a video game and you don't feel like recording, or like, you know, learning a program or something, you know. But sometimes you have to do what you don't feel like doing.
Yeah, that makes sense too. Yeah, like, you gotta push yourself.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, that's absolutely, I agree. That's true too, because there are times I don't want to drive an hour for a show. Yeah. You know, it's not that I don't want to go to the show. I don't want to drive. Yeah. You know, but once I get there, I'm like, this is exactly why I got here. You know, this is exactly why I'm here, sometimes and it's super worth it. You know.
I wish I didn't, because, like, sometimes it'll be like no one's there, or just like someone that, I don't know, like, it's too far.
Yeah. But, so, like, for the past year, I've just been focusing on the business aspect, because as an artist myself, I got quite frustrated with the way that certain, like, people would choose to run their stuff, you know, and, like, not include.
Were you ever part of, like, a promotion industry, or, like, a promotion, like, corporation or whatever? Like, someone like, hey, you know, join us and we'll help promote your stuff.
Not really. Everything I've done up until this point has been myself. Myself, and then as of lately, the past few months, I've, you know, because of the artists that I manage and just different connections and synchronicities that are coming together, now I'm starting to get people to reach out and, like, yo, you know, let's trade, or let's work together, or let's do this, you know. Yeah. But before that, it was just absolutely my blood, sweat, and tears.
Just like straight up grinding. Yeah.
Grinding, no complaining, and that's one of the main things, like, I want to set an example for, is, like, as a woman, you know, like, it's so easy to, like, do the easy thing, you know, like, live off of your looks, or do this or that. I'm not knocking any women who do that, okay? I'm just to be clear. I can't knock anybody who gets theirs at all. But I'm just stating, like, you know, it's easy to do the easy thing. I decided to sit back, and I'm still technically sitting back, you know, until my seeds take fruition, and just waiting. Because for me, instant gratification does nothing. Nothing, you know.
Yeah, you already been through that phase.
Absolutely, you know. And don't get me wrong, like, I'm not a monk or anything, you know. Like, I wish, you know, in a sense.
We also have our vices, pretty much.
Absolutely. What? Lord knows I love to smoke. Like, you know, I love to smoke, chill, like, but I'm just a lot more calm and, like, clear. Yeah. And patient.
Because you have your purpose, so you know what you're.
Absolutely. You know, like, one thing that I advise artists in general, like the ones that ask me for advice or whatever, whether they're, like, performing at one of my shows, or they just want advice as a writer, because, you know, I'm blessed enough to write for some hip-hop blogs.
What were some of the blogs that you're writing for? Like, after...
Oh, okay.
I don't want to stop you there.
No, you're good. Wait, what did I say?
No, you're saying advice that you would give, like,
oh yeah, like, stuff. I would just advise them, like, you know, don't worry, like, keep focus on your future, you know, but take it day by day. You know, live in the journey, be grateful for the journey, you know, because you're gonna get there. It's just a matter of the right timing and your hard work. Right timing and your hard work, once they meet, that's it. But I feel like what people get so caught up in, like, the visuals, literally the visual, like, part of it, the glamour, you know, that they don't think about longevity.
Because they expect, oh, I should be having that already, all the work I put in.
It's like, you number one, expectations are for the birds, in my opinion. You're always going to be super disappointed when you have expectations. Yeah. Number two, you gotta be patient. Like, this planet, this entire universe was here way before any of us, you know? Like, you can't rush greatness.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we are already great. This is what I truly feel. We are already great. All you're doing with your hard work is further proving to yourself of your greatness, you know? Because, at least for me, like, what do I have to prove to others? My biggest competition is me. You know, like, every time I get
you never, like, ever see yourself, like, comparing yourself, like, oh, that person's doing this already and I'm over here, like, this, you know?
Not
never.
anymore. I have. Most definitely. Before, when I would get, like, frustrated and like, about the outcome and what I deserve and, like, oh, it's not fair. You know, like, that to me is, like, a tantrum. You know, like, I'm too old for that, you know? Like, it's time to put that aside. And instead of having a tantrum, you know what? I'm going to work twice as hard. Because every like, the harder I work, the sooner I get to my goal. Or to my goals. You know? And, yeah, there are times that it's like, fuck, man, like, I just work so hard on this. Like,
what about, like,
but
if you, like, what about the difference between, like, working hard and working smart? Like, do you feel like you ever see, like, differences in, like, the ways that you move?
I think there are times, like, everything, in my opinion, is circumstantial. The way that you choose to be in certain settings to have a certain outcome, you know, like, you can't be this one way all the time, you know? You gotta apply and adapt to the situation. So I feel like there are times to work hard and there are times to work smarter, not harder. So you just have to assess it correctly and apply it. You know? The reason why I am where I am today and will keep pushing is because I have so many skills. I can practically, like, if it weren't for the literal manpower I need, I could probably run the whole show myself, you know, like, alone. Just, or different aspects, you know? Like, I can multitask like a motherfucker.
But do you feel like a team is, like, still, you know?
A team is extremely important, for sure. Without a team, you will only, like, I feel like without a team, you will still be doing work, you know? Like, you'll still be doing things, but you won't elevate as quickly or to the point where you should be at, you know?
I mean, the way I see it is, like, a lot of people, they say they have teams, or, like, the thing I have about teams is that, you know, like, you can work with someone, but people are not reliable, like, a lot.
No, it's true.
Unless it's, like, someone, because everyone is out for themselves. No one really cares about, like, oh, this person, how are they feeling, you know, like, oh, I need to, like, because if they're like, oh, you know, I just want to lay in bed right now, I don't really want to go with this person and do this thing, you know, like, how are they going to feel? And you're over here, like, waiting for them, like, oh, you know, where they at, you know?
Yeah.
So it's, like, I mean, like, yeah, there's teams that are, like, they're all, like, on the ball, but I feel like mostly they're, like, because they're getting paid or something. But especially, like, now when you're, like, grinding and you don't see any results for a long time, people get really impatient. So, like, teams, like, break up and stuff, you know?
Absolutely. That's why it goes back to the whole, like, support system thing that I said. Like, if you don't have a, so to speak, team, work your butt off, you know, like, initially. Or work smarter, not harder, you know, whenever you can, initially. But, because eventually, even if you didn't start with a team, you will naturally attract those people that will be a part of your team, you know?
Yeah, because I interview a lot of rappers, you know? A lot of rappers, I'm like, oh, are you a group? They're like, no, we're a collective, which means they have something in common, but they're all just doing their own thing.
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah, like, a lot of them, they just do that stuff. As opposed to, like, Migos, they're a real team. Because they consider themselves a group. So they
see, like, a group like Migos, that is, like, that's extraordinary to me. They're so synchronized. You can tell they have crazy chemistry, like, not just as artists, but as
brothers.
As brothers, you know? Like, so that is one in a lifetime type shit, you know? And that's why they are where they are. Because they understand that, you know? They don't let petty shit, nothing, you know? They're just pure perseverance and hard work.
Yeah. Because the thing that stops teams a lot, I feel, is the Beyonces, you know? They're like, oh, you know what? I'm going to be the Beyonce of this group, you know? They're going to, like, shine above everyone else. Because that's what they all want. But, I mean, not everyone can be Beyonce.
I was just gonna say that. There's only one B. You know what I mean? Like, there's only one B, one J. You know. It's funny because I would love to be like the female Jay-Z. I'm not even gonna say Beyonce because I'm nowhere near her caliber of like performing and whatnot, you know, like.
Well, not yet.
But yeah, thank you. But what I mean is like, I want to be like, I'm going to be the Cuban Oprah. That's what I aspire. Like, I'm going to be the Cuban Oprah. Like, she acts. She has, you know what I mean? Like, she's literally, or I'll give you another one, female Frank Sinatra. There you go. Why? Because again, master of many trades. You know, like
Isn't he a singer?
He was a singer, an actor. He had the Rat Pack. Like, he was just like a snazzy, you know, like old Blue Eyes. Like, he was the shit, you know.
But what about
Oprah? I'd much like that's really what I aspire. The heights I aspire to.
Do you feel like you're very motivational?
I definitely hope so. I try my best to be as positive and motivate others as much as possible, you know.
Well, what about like the music and the business? Like, do you feel like you will like be able to manage like doing the business and the music at the same time for the rest of your career, or do you feel like there's gonna be a time like you just you would rather focus on just making music and have someone else handle all that stuff?
Honestly, at this very moment, I don't know, because I can't even lie. I'm enjoying the business aspect a lot. I'm enjoying the business aspect a lot. I've always been a huge humanitarian, and now I literally get to apply that in a different way, you know? Like, I'm literally able to put people on through my platform or platforms, you know? So that to me is humanitarianism in another way, you know? Like, I'm just literally lending a hand.
Yeah.
Or as many as I can, you know?
Do you feel like you would rather, do you want to focus on South Florida artists and stuff? Or do you want to, like...
My main premise, my business model is... You're talented, you're from South Florida, let's get you the fuck out there, like international. That is my premise. And I want to work with people from other places as well. But yes, my main focus is to get South Florida talent out.
Yeah.
Because I just feel like, unfortunately, there are times when there are, like, for example, Miami artists in particular. Before, there was more unity between Broward and Miami-Dade, you know, like working together with music. Yeah. Which I honestly, like, you have to thank X for the unity. Yeah. Only because before that, like, there wasn't such unity, you know?
Because a lot of people didn't even consider Broward Miami. And everyone like thinks
at all.
X Kodak, they're all from Miami, but
no, they're from Broward. Yeah. So like, I don't know if they had anything to do with Miami before, you know what I mean? But you just have to thank him for that, because he literally, like, him and Members Only, like, they literally made all of this possible. Yeah. Like, they literally, like,
you feel like it is
planted the seed.
You feel like it is easier for an artist to break out of South Florida now that they have.
Absolutely, because of X, Ski, Rob Bank,
but
you know, like,
what exactly do
Denzel, like Puya.
What exactly are they doing to help everyone? Just because they have the names from South Florida?
I think they're, well, number one, they're innovators. You know, they're all innovators because they did it when no one thought it could be done. You know, so they are the very first. You know, especially like. Again, people like Puya, Denzel, Raider, all these people, like, they did it when it was not possible. Yeah. You know? Metro Zoo, for goodness sake, which is from Kendall. Or like some of the members were from Kendall. Yeah. You know, like, so, I feel we owe it a lot to those people that planted seeds, you know?
Because, like, what I was asking is because a lot of, like, everyone now, they're like, oh, you know, X made it now. That means he's going to put me on. Now I'm gonna make it. But I don't, because everyone says that.
That's such a shitty mentality
but that's
to
how
have in a way.
Everyone's thinking right now.
Well, they need... Sorry, guys. Like, okay. I say it's shitty because you should never rely on anyone, especially not anyone else's fame, to put you on. Mm-hmm. You know, like, what do you think is going to happen? Bud, you got a good song there. You want to sign this? Like, what do you think is going to happen? Yeah. You know, like, maybe that'll happen to 1 or 2 artists, you know? Yeah. Just, like, pure luck and good timing. But that's not the case most of the time. Most of the time, it's that artist that, like, has been working their ass off. They're taking it seriously, but they're just having fun with it.
Of course, X-Sense, you know, Ski and them, they were working their asses off while they were here to make it where they are now.
Absolutely. Like, you listen back to their tracks, and, like, they had been recording since, like, 2014, 2013, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, that's just 3 years ago, but 3 years, look at what 3 years did, you know? So, again, it's just about, like, working hard, really believing in it, like, literally you can't sleep type shit because you believe in it so hard you can almost smell it and taste it.
Yeah.
Like, at least that's how I feel. Whenever I've, like, really, really, really wanted something and I'm finally there, like, for example, when I first interviewed, like, some of, like bigger names, like, in rap and stuff, like, when I went to Rolling Loud and I had the opportunity to interview the Underachievers, I met Gunnar Stahl, you know, like, people like this, like, internally, I was fangirling like a motherfucker. I was like, you know, like, but, hello, we're
you have to be professional.
You know, no, yeah, I'm going to be professional, and we're all, you know, one and the same.
You ever feel like you have to, like, hold that in? Like, when you're at shows and stuff?
Not anymore. I think the only time I'll really, really, like, super fangirl if it's, like...
Because, like, how do you know, like, what
Robert De Niro, you know, like, if I meet Robert De Niro, like, somebody of that caliber, then I think I'll have to be, like...
I feel like a lot of people don't know, like, how should I act if I see someone, like, you know, like, moderately famous, or just, like, oh, I know them from Twitter, like, you know, like, or they're a big star, you know, like, should I...
All you gotta do... Well, number one, like, you need to remember you are already a star, you know? Like, it literally... You know? And number two, like, I mean, don't act like diva-esque. You just do it naturally. Whenever I've approached anyone, like, let's say, I'll give you an example. During Rolling Loud, I went up to Amine. And he was like, he didn't want to take a photo. He didn't want to have an interview. But you know what? Because of my approach, because I just came at him like, hey, you know, like, normal. I wasn't like... Hey, can I, you know, I wasn't, like, obnoxious or whatever. I just came at him, like, organically, you know. He was like, you know, what's your name? You know, Juno, whatever. And he was like, thank you. You know, like, it's like he acknowledged, like, thank you for not being an annoying asshole.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or just, like, thank you for treating me like a person and not like an object, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
I would feel the same way, you know, like, when I'm in that light, I would want the same thing, like... Because
you're just used to, like, all those people, like, you know, coming, but then it's, like, it's something different. It's like, oh...
Absolutely. You know, like, I just... Again, I try to take things circumstantially so that it's assessed correctly. You know, at least, like, how I feel it should be at the moment, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like you really don't know what's up until you go through an experience, you know, and then you'll know what to say, how to act, whatever, you know, in general, whether it's meeting one of your favorite, like, celebrities or whatever.
They don't know how they feel because they're not them.
I mean, when I can see how when you're placed on a pedestal, you can feel quite misunderstood, you know, like, maybe all you want to do is have a sincere, like, interaction, and they're just staring at you like you're in a museum, you know, like you're this object at a museum, and they're just staring at you, you know.
Yeah.
I would get frustrated at a certain point, like, yo, just please talk to me. Like, I went through, you know, struggles.
I was like you the other day.
Like. Absolutely. Like, not that I'm trying to, like, belittle myself and my achievements, but I'm just trying to let that person know, like, you can do this too, man. Like, just, you know, just be cool. You can do this too. Like, don't think of it that way, you know. But so I pretty much got really tired of the way that people were so... You're good. I got really tired of how dismissive people were towards my ideas and just my vision. And I just said, fuck it, you know? Fuck all the no's. Fuck the odds, you know? I'm just gonna do what I want, what I feel. I'm gonna finally listen to my intuition.
Were there, like, people, like, disapproving of, like, what you were doing? Like, you know, hating on it or anything like that?
Absolutely. All the time. Whether it was directly or indirectly or whatever.
What were they, like, saying?
Their comments would be dry. You know what I mean? Like, you know when you come to someone with excitement about something and they just kind of like, oh,
yeah.
You know, like, they don't give you input or whatever, but the next thing you know, they're using your idea.
Yeah, because you can tell, like, you know, like, how they're...
Not for nothing, but I'm highly intuitive. Like, it kind of sucks at times because I super understand underlying intentions. So when, you know, I always give people the benefit of the doubt, but somehow, some way, that intuitive feeling is always right. Yeah. You know, that I feel initially.
Because, like, your body knows, you know, like, because it can tell, like, other people.
Yeah, we know. And it's not just me that I'm highly intuitive. Like, we all have our intuition, you know? So, like, and the more you use it, the more it flexes, you know? Like, it's a muscle. Yeah. So the more you use it, the stronger it gets. So it's like...
Yeah, it's all those experiences and those, you know, vibes. You can tell, like, oh, this person's giving out this vibe, you know, like, let me, like...
Absolutely, like...
Whatever they have to say, I have to take it with, like, caution, you know?
Absolutely. It's... I feel like I've been... A lot of people like that have been placed in my journey so that I can just become a lot smarter as to how I maneuver and how I do things, you know? And, again, I'm grateful for it, you know, because... I mean, I'm not going to change who I am. I'm not going to be a fucking asshole to people. I'm going to treat people accordingly, you know? Yeah. Like, even it's funny because some people have been super horrendous to me, and I just kind of, like, smile at them.
Like, in what situations? Like...
I can't give you a particular example, but I mean, horrible, like, in the sense of, like, just, like, maybe just not being a good friend or not supporting me in a certain situation. Yeah. Things like that, you know? And I never even wished them wrong or did anything wrong, you know, like, negative towards them. I would just kind of, like, think to myself, like, you know what? The universe responds. Yeah. You know, I was just like, the universe responds to everyone, good and bad. So there's nothing...
Karma, like karma, right?
Yeah, like cause and effect, you know? Like, just like I've received mine, you know? And I will continue to. You know what I mean?
It doesn't stop for anybody.
It doesn't stop for anybody. At all. There's nothing on this planet that you can, like... There's no, like, hey, karma, can you stop? No, karma's like... Karma is...
It was waiting for you.
Or not even... Let's not call her karma, because there are people who like to play the devil's advocate, I guess. Or, like, voice their opinion and say there's no such thing as karma. But, like, let's take it back to this. The 12 universal laws. Cause and effect. That's karma. Yeah. In my opinion. So
but I don't know, like, because I feel like karma is, like, you do something to someone and, like, oh, karma's gonna get you. And then, like, later you get in a car accident. But it's, like, the person that you did that to, they didn't have anything to do with that car accident. The other person.
Because think of it as a boomerang. You know? Like, when you throw a boomerang, that shit is just... Like, let's say you have a technique to it, you know? But it practically has a mind of its own. There are so many variables. Like, from the way that you choose to throw it, to the wind factor, to... You know what I mean? So, even on the way back, let's say a bird just so happens to fly in its way. You know, like, so many variables. So, you don't know how it's going to come at you. But when it comes at you,
it's gonna hit you hard.
It's gonna hit you hard, you know? So, like you said, maybe the person, you know, who did you wrong had nothing to do with whatever directly, but it came to them in that form. And you'll never know exactly what was the karmic, like
which one you did.
Exactly. You'll never know which one is the person or you are paying for it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, maybe you have an idea, but it's not like you have a karmic checklist, you know what I mean?
Like, oh, this is for this.
The universe does.
Yeah,
the universe does, but, like, you don't, you know? You're human. You're just going through your everyday...
Yeah, because, like, sometimes because, yeah, that's the way I see it. Like, if you consider something normal, but someone else considers that bad, you know, which one is it? Like,
and that's... Bad or is it... Just like you meant, you know, like, good and bad is subjective, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You know? There's a lot of subjectivity, but, like, we're not taught to think of a gray area unless we naturally have that in our character or we naturally learn on our own, you know?
Yeah.
We're taught, like, black and white, this, you know? Labels, boxes, compartmentalization, you know?
Yeah.
Which subconsciously creates separation, you know? So it's like so many layers, you know? Life in general, like, not just music. Like, think about it this way. When you make beats, it's literally layered.
Yeah.
Cakes are layered.
Onions are layered.
Like, I know it probably sounds like some hippy dippy, like, you know, but it's so true. Like, everything in life is layered. Our damn skin is layered, you know?
Yeah.
Like, everything that makes us... Our experiences are layered.
Especially, definitely Photoshop.
Photoshop is super layered. You know, like, and just... See, now that you mentioned Photoshop, think about, like, when you initially took that photo or video, whatever, and the end result, you know? What you started with and what you finished with.
Nothing like,
you know? So, like, it's always about the journey, in my opinion. Like, you know, so I write about artistry because I want to help artists understand their greatness and elevate them.
Do you feel like when you're writing, everything just, like, comes out? Or is it, like, you have to actually, like, research, think about it, like...
Honestly, I'm so grateful and blessed that I get to write about artists. And, for example, through Brain Bakery, Mag, that's one of the outlets that I write for. I specifically... have been writing about Artist of the Week, which has to do with, like, painters. I used to work at a gallery. I used to work at an art gallery. And I think
You're also painting too?
Not really. But I'm definitely more of a Jackson Pollock. Like, he was, like, the original splatter painter.
Yeah.
You know, like, if I paint, it's for therapeutic reasons. It's not like, you know,
make something.
At least not at this point in my life. But I think as a creative in general, if it's artistic, you're drawn to it, you know?
Yeah.
Whether you're an observer or you're actually doing it, you're drawn to it because you're creative.
Yeah.
You know, there's no shame in that. And I feel like right now is a literal, like, renaissance. And it's, like, brewing in South Florida, I think, mainly.
Yeah.
Because
I feel like the government's trying to bring it down because, you know, how they have, like, the regulation for, like, all the art galleries now and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But, like,
well, yeah, because, of course, you know, they want to they want to keep making us dumber and taking away any sort of proper externalization or release that we can have because, of course, when you're creating, you're letting out your feelings in a positive way.
Yeah.
They don't want us to do that. They want us to let our feelings on each other, create more hostility, negativity, you know, like...
Yeah.
So I'm glad you brought that up because it's such a, like, sensitive topic, but, like, I feel, again, if you understand the root, there's no smoke and mirrors, you know? You don't see the smoke and mirrors because you understand the root. All you got to do from that point is maneuver around it, you know? There's unity in numbers. Like, if you understand your truth and the truth of the human race as a collective, and just, like, your higher purpose, you know? And not just be, like, this narrow-minded person by choice. Like, you're gonna do good, you know?
Yeah.
You're gonna do great, actually. You just have to, like, listen to your intuition. Fuck what other people say. You know, like, all these cliche things that you hear, like, in
But it's all it's like it's all for
true.
The better of you, pretty much.
It's true. Like if you're self-aware, you understand what's good and bad for you, or what's good and bad for other people. You're unstoppable. You know what I mean? There's nothing.
You also have that willpower, because sometimes people know what's bad for them, but they still do it.
Yeah, because unfortunately, they believe in the systematic variables that have been in place, and sometimes it's subconscious. Like they don't understand it.
Yeah.
One of the things that I really started doing. This is something I'm gonna recommend, and I hope that people are already doing this. And if you're not, I highly recommend this. A lot of like our bad habits and whatnot, like you said, like that it's bad, but you still do it, and you feel like you're helpless. It's only because you haven't broken down your subconscious. Like the already cemented like rules and behaviors and stuff that you have in your subconscious because of your ancestry, your environment, yourself, whatever, it's all subconscious, like deep down in there. So if you start breaking down your subconscious, like for example, I started listening to certain frequencies, certain instrumentals that has certain frequencies that would literally get into your subconscious to break it down and just make it more positive. Like filter out all the crap that was like weighing you down. And again, this is subconscious, so you will only see it once you will see it and feel it. Once you start doing it, you'll see the progress in a few months. But again, it's nothing that instant gratification can do for you at all. At all. It's a huge process. It really is. And I'm 7 years in, and I'm still like, damn, I have so much more to learn. I have so much more to do.
Yeah.
And I read about people like Oprah, Les Brown, Napoleon Hill, Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, people who literally paved their own ways. They were all trailblazers. They just listened. They literally unapologetically listened to themselves. They didn't let their circumstances from their past or their present, dampen what, like their lofty goals. And they're there, Yeah. And they're not young people. So if you are a young person and you're super acquiring your goals right now, like those lofty millionaire goals, fucking high five to you, bro. I'll see you real soon.
I think it's because they see how like little like Lil Pump and like all the other artists like like at such young ages like doing it. So they're like, damn, like no, I should be like, if they're that young, I should be that young doing it too.
I guess that's good and bad. It's good because we have a lot of people in my generation and younger who they don't want to work for anyone. You want to be your own boss, you want to be a millionaire. That's fucking badass, because everyone deserves that. Everyone deserves that prosperity and abundance. But it doesn't work out for everyone at the same time.
Yeah.
I think everyone has that right, but you need to understand, like, be realistic with yourself, like, be real with yourself. If you've been working 5 years towards this one thing and nothing has happened yet in your eyes, let's say you would have worked harder at it just 1 or 2 more years, and all of a sudden, boom, but you chose to give up, so now you'll never know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you worked hard for 5 years towards this one thing. All you needed was 2 more. But again, you don't know. You know what I mean? Unless you completely go through with your journey and wait for the right time. Everybody's different. Lil Pump and Smoke Perp, they're extremely fortunate. But not because they made it at such a young age. But not everyone is them. Yeah,
because if everyone is Lil Pump and Smoke Perp, then we wouldn't have like doctors, lawyers, and people that throw shows, people that do videos.
Absolutely.
That, people that like work at Subway, people that work at
We need a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Communities are based off of a little bit of everything. Like, again, like, you need to understand your role or roles depending on a setting or circumstance, and always understand that if you feel it doesn't work for you, I have the choice to change it.
Yeah.
I have the choice to do this or not do this.
Yeah.
To be like, yo, fuck this, or you know what, I'm gonna do this hardcore as fuck because it's
Yeah.
Again, the power of choice, like, is when I really understood the power of choice, I became unbreakable, Yeah. And that's what I hope for others. Like, be unbreakable. You already are. You just have to believe it,
Yeah.
So you just have to believe it. Believe and you will achieve. Like, you gotta... I think Les Brown said this one. He said, you gotta starve your fears and feed your faith. I don't know if you know who Les Brown is, but this man...
Is he an author?
He is a motivational speaker, pretty much. This man is from Liberty City. He was, as an infant, left in a random house in Liberty City. As an infant, like, to die. He was rescued, became an orphan, and then he ended up getting adopted by a really kind woman who was his support system, By the time he was in 3rd grade, they deemed him, like, mentally incapacitated. Like
he couldn't have,
they pretty much deemed him, like, hey, you have Down syndrome. Like, in the sense of, like, you're not competent.
Yeah.
Which is BS. Because everyone is competent. But, and this man is a self-made millionaire. He even ran for, like, mayor. Like, this just...
But what did he do? He was just, like, speaking more, like, doing motivational speaking?
I believe he became, like, a radio show host, and then he eventually got into politics, and now he's, like, a motivational speaker. But still, like, not only did he do it, but he did it all, in his right. Like, he wanted to do this, he did it. He, like, he never let anybody tell him, like, hey, you can't do this, and that's the basis, I guess that's just why I'm giving him as an example. Like, everybody was telling him, you can't, you won't, and he's like, I just did,
Yeah.
And that's the similarity that I find with a lot of really, really successful people. Even Jay-Z would say it, like, his uncle would doubt him and be like, no, you can't do that. And he's like, why are you mirroring what you can't do? In psychology, mirroring is just...
like, seeing someone as yourself and, like, no, you can't do it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you're, like, you're putting on your fears onto the person, someone else. Rather than, like, motivating or whatever, or not saying anything.
Yeah.
I honestly, especially, like, writing about artistry or artists, like, if I don't have anything nice to say about you, I'm not gonna write about you, because everybody I write about, I'm elevating.
Yeah.
Why am I gonna waste my time, put that negative crap out there, and then next thing you know, like, oh, Juno is this, that, you know what I mean? People will talk no matter what, but if I could just not be negative towards others, no matter what, like, I have more power.
Yeah.
I feel.
Yeah, of course. I don't want to make it too long, so I was just, like, stop it there.
No, my bad.
That's fine. No, but yeah, that was, like, a lot of insightful things you were saying about, but, like, if you could, like, sum everything into, like, one concise thing for, like, that you would tell someone, like, what would it be?
If I could summarize it, I'd say, listen to your intuition, believe in yourself, don't listen to what anyone has to say, at least nothing negative, listen to constructive criticism, and just keep moving forward, no matter what. And that alone will get you to where you're going. And when you get to where you want to be, you're gonna surpass your expectations, you know, or your standards rather. You're gonna surpass that.
It's like you said, not to have expectations because they could either be like less or more.
Exactly. Like I just feel like when you have expectations, especially of others, you're always gonna be disappointed. People can't read your mind, you know.
Yeah.
So like let's say even if you communicate an expectation, you're probably not communicating it 100% honestly, you know, for whatever reason.
Yeah.
You know, so you're still gonna be disappointed.
Sure.
So I'd rather not have expectations, have my own standards. Yes. You know, I think it's important to have standards, but not expectations. And that way, you don't get as disappointed. You know, when people do come through, it's very appreciated. You know, and that's felt. Yeah. And I just feel like it's also a part of just being a mature individual. You know, just understanding detachment and not having expectations.
Sure. What about anyone that you want to shout out?
Well, want to give a shout out to the artist that I manage, Jiggy Man the Plug. He really is the plug. He has a new single out called Jesus. Check it out on his Twitter or mine. My Twitter is Young Livewire. And his is Jiggy Man the Plug. We have a show coming up actually, September 16th. It's my show that I invested in. I'm curating everything of the above, all of the above, and that's also gonna be. It's gonna be like, Jiggy Man the Plug is headlining, Jalen is headlining, and also Colossus and Jalen, Jiggy. They're all doing big things. So
yeah, Colossus is on tour with Buffet Boys.
Exactly. So that's really dope. You know, like I'm just really happy for like everyone I've been working with and that's been fucking with me, you know, like they just show mad love and appreciation.
Yeah.
Everyone from Brain Bakery, No Gossip LA, Scumbag Mag, those are the outlets I write for. Shout out to all of them. Like they just show mad love and appreciation. You know, everyone who has helped me and keeps helping me along my journey, whether it's a simple hello or whatever, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And where can they find you at?
I'm on Twitter again. My handle is Young Livewire, and on there you can see all of my writing for Brain Bakery, No Gossip LA, and Scumbag Mag.
And your music too? Or?
No, I've actually have not released my music.
Already?
I have not. Very few people have heard it. Eventually I will. But in the right time.
Yeah, you'll have another interview when the music comes out.
Yeah. I have, you know, by that time, you'll be on TV doing interviews. Hopefully.
Yeah, so. Like somewhere like a big platform. Or I want my platform to be big, you know.
I honestly feel like you will get there for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Just gotta stay consistent. But yeah, so this has been 6 Feet with Juno. And we are out.